Hello, my name is Roy B. Man of Merlin, and welcome to my latest video on the 19th of November 2024. So why did I mention the date? Well, today is International Men's Day, which for me is definitely not out there and promoted as much as their female counterpart, but something that should definitely be more and more recognised, because men have challenges too. Men need support too. Men definitely need recognising too, especially with this societal push these days that are useless or men aren't needed, which quite frankly is a complete crock of rubbish. We need each other. The female and male counterpart creates this amazing balance that really supports society as a whole. We need both genders to be in their sovereign power. And International Men's Day should definitely recognise the contribution that every man on this planet, man, boy, and aged man, older, elder, contributes to society. There's so much bad press about us being potential rapists or all of this complete and utter nonsense in my eyes. It really is. Whereas a man in his sovereignty contributes so much to society. You know, like especially most of the trades like brickies and plumbers, electricians and builders and welders and all of those. The industry is 99% male, and we build the infrastructure. We are the ones that create everything that we use on a day-to-day basis, and without us doing that, there would be no society. There would be no roads, there would be no cars, there'd be no phones, there'd be no buildings. So we are, just on the basic level, we are absolutely integral to modern day society. We're the pioneers as well. Now, I'm not saying that women don't do those things too. Of course, there's always people from both genders that cross that divide, and for whatever their purpose may be. But today, because it's International Men's Days, that's what I'm going to focus on. That is the focus of today. So if a man watching this, honour yourself today. Know that you are valuable to your family, to your friends, to your partner, that you really are a key component to everybody's life that you're part of. We're amazing fathers, we're amazing protectors. But even to this modern day, the majority of the armed forces are male. So we protect our country, we protect our family, we protect our interests. And that's just what we're built to do. That's in our nature, that's in our genes, it's in our history, it's in our genealogy, it's in our genetics, and so on and so forth. We are amazing people. So International Men's Day has actually started to be come around and be a thing from the early 90s. Originally, like Malta was the biggest country around the world that's promoted International Men's Day every year. They used to do it in February, and then they changed the date to be more in line with the rest of the world. Trinidad and Tobago had a big say in the early 90s, and not, interesting enough, there's some countries that even stopped celebrating it for a decade. Australia, where I currently live, is one of them. From the mid 90s to the mid 2000s, they stopped celebrating it, which is ridiculous. Whatever political agenda was going on at the time was probably the reason for that. However, International Men's Day contains 6 pillars. And one of those, first one, is to promote positive male roles. Not just movie stars and sportsmen, not that they can always be positive role models anyway, but more so everyday working class men who are living decent and honest lives. Those are the role models that men tend to find that they have a bigger influence from a positive role model rather than have the negative going, well, you shouldn't be this kind of person. We thrive when we've got someone to look up to. That, interestingly enough, ironically enough, that father role. When a man grows up having a really good positive father, he tends to live a really honest life. There's actually statistics that men from single homes, from single mum homes, are 3 times more likely to be drawn into crime and drugs. And that's a statistical fact. It's not saying that there's bad mothers, it's just that they don't have that real strong boundary role in their life. And that's more probably, from my experience, that's probably the reason. Not because there's bad mothers. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. I'm more saying that without that strong role model, and that one that brings in the discipline, that's our natural way of being parents, they don't have that, so they're more likely to stray, and the statistics back that up. And so moving away from that, the 6 pillars, number 2, to celebrate men's positive contributions to society, which I spoke about a few minutes ago. Community, family, marriage, childcare, being a parent, and the environment. Now, there's a hell of a lot more to that. I would include infrastructure in that, and the advancement of the human race. Inventions. The internet was invented by a man. And just to name off the top of my head, the car was invented by a man. Just to, if I really wanted to be cynical, radiation was invented by a woman. But anyway, there's a lot of tongue in cheek in that. Just be very, very clear. Clip it up if you want. I don't give a rat's, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, the 6 pillars, number 3, to focus on men's health and well-being, social, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Men's health is vastly and hugely instrumental to the general health of society. Men tend to suffer from depression more, mental health more. The suicide rate is far higher in men than it is in women. We tend to suffer more emotional abuse. And not to say that, women don't suffer that as well. Again, I'm focusing on the male side of the spectrum here. Even in domestic violence, the statistics, as much as it's made to be believed, aren't that much different. The last I looked, and I doubt it would have changed that much, that I think every 7 days a woman dies from domestic violence. That also includes same-sex couples when you look at the statistics, because the media skew that massively. But 1 in 10 days a man dies, and also some same-sex marriages. So it's not that much difference. But the suicide rates in comparison are massive. Men, there's something like, I think it's 320 something men a week commit suicide, which is just shocking. And there's the push for men's mental health. It is getting better, but it needs to be much, much bigger. We suffer from stress. We internalize so much, and we try and fix it ourselves, and we're not great at it, to be fair. Men in their emotions, we tend to just bury it, which leads to these suicide attempts and so on and so forth. So men's health and well-being is paramount. And I'm a co-host on a new platform that's literally about to start, called the Excuseless platform, XQ-LSLESS, and I'm part of the Men's Health Room. So the Men's Health, International Men's Days are vitally important. It should be celebrated far more, and should be in the media as much as International Women's Day is. Equality and all that lot. So moving on, the 4th pillar, to highlight discrimination against men in areas of social services, social attitudes and expectations, and law. Family law in Australia was very, very skewed towards the females, especially when it comes to child raising. It is getting a lot better. I've seen it, been through that journey myself. I've seen it change, and they have tried the best to start balancing out the rules, which is great, because children, again, as I stated earlier, children that don't have their father in their life are far more likely to go into a life of crime, 3 times more likely to go into a life of crime than those that have the father in their life. So it's imperative for society in general to keep the family unit together when the mother and father decide not to be together anymore. So it's vastly important, because we guide them. We do bring in that strong hand to show them the way. And if you're a loving father that gets to see your kids, great. And if you don't, fight for them. Because you're not just fighting for your kids, you're fighting for society. And you're fighting for their future. And that's worth it on its own. So moving on to pillar number 5, to improve gender relations and promote gender equality. You know, yes, it has been a patriarchal system for so long. Again, you know, but if you believe media, it's skewed the other way, but it really isn't. When you look out there, you still see far more male and female families together than not. So, you know, basically don't watch the media. It's just not something that tells the truth. It just tells agendas and bias. So if you want the truth, go look out in the street. If you want the truth, go for a walk and see what you see. But gender equality is great. Jordan Peterson is great at pulling apart this media narrative that there's still a lack of women in certain roles. And the most common one, if you've never seen it, the most common one is where they're saying, like, oh, there's not enough women in government, blah, 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 and there's gender equality and there's gender pay gap and all that lot. And he just shows it to be untrue through very much informed and learned information. And he knows his research and he knows his history. So he's not just spouting his opinion, he's looking at facts and statistics over a long period of time, so he knows what he's talking about. So if you've never come across him, definitely look him up. It speaks a lot of sense about gender equality. And then to the 6th pillar, to create a safer, better world where people can be safe and grow to reach their full potential, which is really speaking to the man's main role, which is one of protection and boundaries, and creating that safe environment so that everybody, men, women and children, can be who they choose to be without discrimination. So if there's people in your life that you're trying to force your opinions on, ask yourself why you want them to be the way you want them to be, rather than allowing them to be who they want to be. It's our role to nurture too. It's more the gender role, but we're the ones that create the boundary, that create the space for them to grow into, and then expand that boundary. So, International Men's Day is a really, really, really important day. You know, just wish all your male friends in your phone contacts and on your Facebook contacts, wish them a happy International Men's Day. Get that out there. You know, maybe catch up and have a coffee or a beer or whatever it is that you do with your friends. Have a game of golf, or, you know, whatever it is you do. Organise a World of Warcraft game night, or again, you know, do whatever it is that you do that you enjoy, and do that as much as you can. Men need that downtime too. Speak your truth in a strong but loving way. And if you're not sure how to do that, practice. Practice with your female friends who know you can be a bit harsh sometimes or a bit direct. And the key component for me is, if you're struggling, if you're having challenges, it is a pillar of strength to ask for help. You know, I'm a spiritual counsellor and men's health coach, and so if you're struggling, please reach out. There's links in the description to reach out for help, as well as all the amazing free services out there, like Black Dog that's in Australia, you know, the mental health services, you know, the Samaritans, and all of those kinds of free people, you know, the phone people that you can just ring and chat to about whatever's going on, just to get it off your chest. It is not weak as a man to ask for help. It's imperative. International Men's Day is a brilliant day to start that practice of asking for help, or even just reaching out to friends and saying, look, yeah, I'm having a tough time. Might only be a day. Might just be having a tough time that day, but it's okay. It's okay. You know, like the Are You Okay movement as well. If you're not okay, then find someone who If you don't feel you've got anybody you can trust, find someone who you can remotely trust. Start somewhere. And even that beginning, that just starts that momentum of finding someone who can actually help. And there is, or believe that there's always someone that can help you. So that's my take and my input on International Men's Day. You are important, you are key to society, you are a key component of your life, you're key to your friends and your family and your children and your society and your community. Know that. And just as long as you stop believing what the media are saying, you'll be able to release a lot of rubbish that's being spoken. So with that being said, happy International Men's Day, and if you need help, please reach out. So take care. My name's Roy Beeman of Merlin, and I'll see you again soon.